We'll gather round, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we've done some kind of spooky, scary type stuff, and today I want to do something for Halloween that's more on the elegant side slash beautiful slash goth type deal. So we're gonna make a sign for my daughter that has her name on it. And she loves Halloween, and she really wanted something, so I thought that this would be kind of a cool idea. Now, I got these letter molds a while back, and this is the first time I've used them. And they are these big, beautiful, chunky ones. I think they're like 3 inches tall, so it's not your typical keychain kind of mold. And they are stunning. Like, I really like this a lot. So the first thing we're doing is I mixed up some of my Let's Resin epoxy, and we're just putting a tiny bit down just for our clear coat, because these molds are in reverse, so we need to work backwards. Now, as I'm working the bubbles, kind of making sure that there's none stuck on the silicone and any of that nonsense, let me tell you about how we are going to include things such as washi tape. They're like stamp stickers. You would have seen them before several videos back when I made that bowl using the stickers and some other stuff with some acetate sheets. But we're going to do that, and we're going to do some lace. Now, because these are stickers, we've got to put them in reverse, so we need them to stay down, and I want them to stay down flat and in place. So I figured the best way to do this with no, I don't want to say no risk of bubbles, because we do know that UV resin can have bubbles in it. However, this is going to take kind of a lot of the guesswork out. As long as you are putting down a very little bit of the resin and you kind of smooth it in, you can almost glue this stuff in place using the UV resin, as opposed to putting it down, putting in epoxy, and hoping for the best. You know what I mean? Hoping that it's not going to float or move or shift, or there's not going to be bubbles kind of created underneath. So what I did was I layered a little bit of the UV resin down. I put my stamp down after I kind of cut it down to size. And then I put a little bit on top because it's sticky and I can't really rub it down. And then I am going to just cure it under my flashlight. Now, I could have pulled out my Let's Resin Dual UV light, but I just, because of the way that I'm doing it, I wanted to kind of keep going and working at the same time, and I didn't want to have to put it in there. So that's what we're going to do. And then after we get all of the stamps in place, we're going to do the same thing with the lace. Now, typically fabric is, because, you know, it's porous, it can create and leave behind a multitude of bubbles. But doing it this way, I didn't get one bubble. Not one. So, where am I saying do this every time? No. Am I saying that you can't add stuff into resin like I'm doing now, but without the UV part of it and not get bubbles? Absolutely. You can definitely do it and not get bubbles. This is just kind of an easier way to do it that really kind of takes all the guesswork out of it. As long as your mold's right for what you're doing, right? Like, obviously certain molds aren't going to work. This one works out in my favor, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm making sure that as I'm kind of going along it, I am pushing that little bit of resin that I put underneath out and down and making sure that it's completely smoothed out. I am flipping my mold over from time to time to check to make sure, since it is a see-through mold, that I don't have any bubbles there that I don't know about. And then I'm going to cure it. And then we're just going to cut the lace down. Now, this is a tablecloth. I've used it many, many times already on this channel and other projects because it's beautiful. Like, I love it. It's got spiders and spider webs on it. Like, it's pretty cool. So I'm really going to do the same thing. I'm kind of positioning the lace where I want it, covering up the areas that I want, leaving blank the other areas that I want, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take a little bit of UV resin, make sure that it is completely saturated and covered. So I'm going to use my silicone tool and a dotting tool just to kind of help hold it in place as I am saturating this lace with the UV resin. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to cure it. And then after all is said and done and all of these letters are finished and the UV resin is cured, then we are going to mix up some more epoxy resin and we are going to do our second layer. Now this is going to be a 3-layer piece because I want to make sure, I don't want this to get lost. Like, I want to make sure that that stamp and that lace are shown perfectly. And then my daughter said that she wants kind of like a blood red color. So we're going to do that as our third layer. Now, obviously, her name has 2 M's. I have 1. So the third one I will do off camera because you've, by that point, would have already seen me doing one of them. So you don't need to see it again. And, you know, that's the only thing that I don't like about when you get the letter molds is that, and I do know, I have seen before, there are some of the smaller, like your typical keychain letter molds that have the double letters in some of them. But they don't include double letters. Like, I really wish that you could get it and you have 2, especially of maybe the more common letters that are used, so that I don't have to, like, it took 6 days just for the resin part alone, just to get it all poured and ready to go, because I didn't have an M. Now, do I know that I could have used or bought another one? Yeah, but I didn't want to do that. All right, so again, with the Let's Resin epoxy, I did take a tiny bit, and I mean a tiny bit, of Rolio Pearl White, just for that little bit of sparkle. Now, you're not going to see it a lot because we do have the stamps and we have the lace in there, but it's kind of going to peek through. I know I could have put it in that first layer, but I didn't want an abundance of it. I just want to barely be able to see it. Just a tiniest bit of sparkle in there in those kind of blank areas where the holes and stuff of the lace are, just to see it. I don't want it, like, I just didn't want a whole entire, like, it's in your face kind of sparkle. That's not what I was going for with this at all. Now, I am making sure, because the surface is rough, it's not smooth because of the UV resin that's down there, that I'm making sure I'm getting in all those areas, anywhere where the stamps may have curled up, and some of them did, or if there's an area that maybe I didn't cover and didn't have enough UV resin or whatever. I'm just making sure that it is all perfectly 100% covered. And then I'm going to fill it approximately about another third of the way up, so that I have about a third of this mold left for the color. Hitting it really well with my heat gun just to make sure that there are no bubbles in there. For me, it's very important, especially in this piece, that I don't have the bubbles. I want that perfectly clear resin. All right, so as an added piece for what we are going to do, I have these little skeleton earring molds that I recently got, and she wanted them kind of in there somewhere, so I just happen to have some black resin left over, so that's what I'm using. I didn't mix it up, especially for this project, because I didn't need to. I did spray the mold with alcohol because it is embossed with all the bones on it, so I wanted to make sure that this resin is going to just flow all around all those areas and not have any bubbles stuck in there. And then I am going with my dotting tool just over all those areas, just in case, just in case. And then we're going to fill this up, hit it with a heat gun, let it do its thing, and we will come back and finish this when it's cured. Now, I have decided that for the inside, like where the bones are on here, what I want to do is I want them to glow in the dark. And since I have that Art and Glow glow powder, the one that's white but glows red, I thought that would be perfect. So I am just mixing a tiny bit of that glow powder in with some gloss varnish, and then we're going to go over these guys and kind of fill it up. Not really fill it up, because it's not going to like fill it like if I were to have mixed it in with resin and it's actually going to fill those voids. It's not. It will, when it dries, it will dry like a thin layer. Like there's still going to be the like the 3D-ness of the mold, if that makes sense. Like the eyes are still going to pop out in his face. The bones are still going to be sunken in more. It's not going to be a flat surface as far as that goes, and that's great. Like I don't need it to be. And now the one thing that I know just in mixing mica powders and stuff like that with this gloss varnish is when it dries, it kind of dries opposite on how resin cures. Like resin cures from the middle towards the outside. This stuff dries from the outside into the middle. So when it dries, it'll dry with like the exterior of those areas more white and the interior less white, if that makes sense. Like as far as this piece goes. So as it starts to dry when I'm working on the other piece, I will go back in and add more just to kind of cover those bigger areas, because that's where the majority, like the face and that pelvic area, is where the majority of that issue is going to be, because they're larger areas. So I will go back and dot it in some later with a toothpick just to kind of make sure that it's all one shade of white, if that makes sense. And then we're going to set these off to the side and let them dry. I am going in with a toothpick right now because these molds have 10 little fingers and 10 little toes that are like super crazy tiny, like almost the tip of the toothpick is too big to get in there. Like that's how tiny they are, but it's very, very detailed. Okay, so now this is 24 hours later. Our second layer of resin has cured, and now it is time to try and make a blood red color. So I am taking my Let's Resin, of course, and I am taking Rolio's Scarlet Mica Powder, which in my opinion, as far as reds go, hands down best red mica I've found to date. It is the reddest red that I have found. And then to kind of get that darker red, we are going to mix in some brown alcohol ink. Now this is just Cheap Arts, and I'm starting off one drop at a time because I don't know exactly how fast it's like the concentration level of it as opposed to the red. If it's super concentrated, like alcohol inks typically are more concentrated. I don't want to make it too dark and make it turn brown, but I do want it to have a really, really good brown tint to it, like that just kind of almost dried old blood type look that you get. Not like bright red like I just cut myself kind of blood, I guess. Anyway, I got there in the end, and now it is time to add this final layer of resin here. So I'm going to fill it up about halfway with what's left in each one of these. Go around it with my dotting tool just to make sure that there are no bubbles that are stuck in between layers, because sometimes that seems to happen. Hit it with the heat gun, and then we're going to finish filling it up, put it off to the side, let it do its thing, and that's really it for this part. Now, as I kind of go through these last couple letters, the next step is where, when we're starting to put it all together, is where it really, really comes to life. And I can't wait for you to see these when I demold them. They are so, 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 so beautiful. Like, I wasn't sure with all of the darkness and the colors how well it would really kind of, I guess, turn out. I was worried that maybe you wouldn't really be able to see the red through, you know, the stamps and all of the lace that I put on there, but they are so stunning. Like, I really hope you like them as much as I do. All right, 24 hours later, it is time to demold these, and I couldn't be more excited. And I do really, another note on this mold, the facing of these letters is so nice because it's rounded. Like, it is gorgeous. It's not like a, like, look how beautiful those are. They're so pretty. Oh my God, they're so pretty. But anyway, like, yeah, they're rounded. They're rounded. I love the shape of them. They don't have the straight edge, like, corners on them that you have to worry about. It's just, they're so stunning. You can see my daughter. She's, like, excited looking at them. I really, really, really like how these turned out. Like, a lot. Okay, so I'm going to make this last M off camera for you. It's still working, but while that's still working, we're going to continue on with these. I want to add a little bit of rhinestone to it just to kind of pizzazz it up just a little bit more. So I've got my diamond glaze, I've got some black, and I've got some like clear silver-ish rhinestones, and that's what we're doing. Now, my first thought was I am going to go all the way around the outside of these letters, and then about right about here where I'm at right now, I decided that I'm probably not going to have enough. And I realized it looks like I have a lot, but I'm using the smaller ones for one, and two, like all those black ones, they're like 6 different sizes in there, maybe more than that. So in the size that I'm using, could I do it in different sizes? Yeah, sure, I could. That's not what I want to do. And I want to use those kind of clear silver ones as like a special one, if that makes sense. You'll see. You'll see. Anyway, as I finish this up, I'm going to bounce off. I will be back when we are ready for the next step.
In the moonlight we fly, mother's love in our eyes, magic whispers our spell, together we rise.
Cloaked in shadows we dance, chants of love in the night. Broomsticks glide across the sky, Halloween's pure delight. Mother-daughter so tight, witches' hearts burning bright. In the dark we unite, love's eternal flight. Cauldron bubbles and brews with our dreams and our hues. Hand in hand, never lose, through the forest we cruise. She taught me spells to cast, witching bond that'll last. Through each shadow we pass, in her heart I'm steadfast. Mother-daughter so tight, witches' hearts burning bright. In the dark we unite, love's eternal flight. Bubbles and brews with our dreams and our hues. Hand in hand, never lose, through the forest we cruise. She taught me spells to cast, witching bond that'll last. Through each shadow we pass, in her heart I'm steadfast. Mother-daughter so tight, witches' hearts burning bright. In the dark we unite, love's eternal flight.
All right, I am back. Okay, so at first I was going to join each one of the letters. Excuse my camera, it's having a conniption fit right now. It will stop. But what I was going to do was I was going to join each one of the letters by like a chain with some beads and have that hanging up like that with the skeletons hanging off of 2 of the letters. And then I decided that I thought it would be better if I had a backing to it. So I got this beautiful kind of wood plaque type dealie and some metallic white paint, because what we're going to do, I don't want to say I don't want it any darker, but we're going to use some of that tablecloth in the back of this, and you need to be able to see through. Red will be too much. Black, won't see it. White, good. You can see it. It'll make it pop. But I didn't want like bright white. So I've got this metallic looking white that is more, it says it's white, more in my opinion of like a kind of creamy, kind of almost eggshelly color. Problem was it was very transparent, so I did have to mix in some actual white, like titanium white paint in there just to get it to cover the wood. Now this is what we're going to do. We are putting this as a backing on our wooden piece, just so it's not plain, it's not white. And then we're going to start fixing this up, making it look amazing. So I've cut it down to size. I did use some spray adhesive on this wood, let it set for about 30 minutes to get tacky, and now I am going to apply the lace down. I figured that would probably be the best kind of route of doing it because I did not want to, I didn't want to like glue it down, and I didn't with anything else, and I didn't want to resin it. Like I don't want to do the resin in this part. Of course, me being me and sucking at life when it comes to one, cutting straight lines, and two, getting things like measuring and cutting straight lines, it didn't work. So we're piecing it together. It's fine. It's fine. You can see the seam here. We're going to make it disappear. And because I did such a crap job at cutting it, and I didn't want to waste any more of this because I just know myself and the same thing is going to happen, I decided that I'm going to get some black glitter washi tape, and this is the thinner kind, and we are going to just put it around the edges. It's going to clean up any of the edges where, you know, my lines are all kinds of wonky, and just kind of create a border to it. It will help with the, like, where the seam of it, I guess, is where the two pieces connect. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go up the center with it, but like I said, we're not done with this yet. We're going to do something else that's going to help make that disappear. All right, this is all said and done. Now, what I want to do is I'm taking some of my gloss varnish, and I am taking black glitter, mixing it up, and I am going over the spider in the middle, and I'm going over every one of these spider webs with this concoction. It's going to make it pop out a little bit more, give it some added dimension. I'm going to make this on the thicker side, and because I am doing it thicker like this, I will let this set for a good probably like 18 hours before I come back to it, just to make sure that it's totally dry. All right, so I'm going to bounce off while I do this. I will be back when we are ready for the next step.
Monsters in the night, ready for a bite. Trick or treat delight, dancing in the moonlight. Goblins on the street, moving to the beat. Candy on repeat, spooky hands and feet. Groove with the ghosts, party with the ghouls. Halloween host, breaking all the rules. Ooh. Witches in the air, flying everywhere. Pumpkin spooky glare, chills in the midnight air. All the rules. Vampires on the prowl, hear the werewolves howl. Join the monster crowd, make that costume proud. On the prowl, hear the werewolves howl. Join the monster crowd, make that costume proud.
Okay, I am back. Now that's doing its thing drying. Let's start putting this together. So I don't know if you guys remember, I did an unboxing on this. I got this drill a little while back, and this is my first time using it. If it's your first time using something, I suggest practicing on a junk piece first, not be like me and practice on your good piece, because this thing went flying when I put it on there. It's fine. It's fine. All I'm doing now is I am going to put some eye screws in the bottom of the two M's, add some jump rings and some chain and some beads to the chain, and then hang them, the little skeleton dudes, down. And then we're going to start putting this together. You don't really need me to talk through this, so I'm going to bounce off while it kind of goes, and you can see what I'm doing. When I get to the part where I am assembling it onto the board, I am just putting it with some E6000 glue and setting it on there, and then we're going to decorate up the sides a little bit, and then that's pretty much going to be the majority of it. I will be back here in a bit, and I'll just kind of let you watch the process. Alright, so I got all my letters into place. I wanted to do something with the sides because it was looking a little bit plain. So I decided I'm just going to take some of that E6000 glue on some of these diamond-shaped mirror pieces. I thought that would look cool. They didn't add up, like, match up all the way with the size that they are for me to go point to point all the way down. So I did leave a space in the middle. And we're going to put some rhinestones in there just to dress it up a little bit more. And then that's pretty much it. And honestly, guys, as I finish this up, that's a wrap on this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. I really like it. I think it came out gorgeous. I really hope Emma likes it too. I do have some pictures in there with the little skeleton guys glowing. I don't know. I just think it's pretty cool, pretty unique, and you can do it not just for Halloween, but something like this for, you know, anytime, really. Alright, guys. I will catch you on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Skeletons arise from sleep. Bones rattle in the night underneath the pale moonlight. They start swaying side to side, screaming laughs they cannot hide. Spooky rhythms fill the air, dancing skeletons everywhere. Moonlit battle bones a clack, groovy beats don't turn back. Spooky sights, a midnight show, skeletons they steal the glow. Skulls a wobble, ghosts take flight. Misty fogs embrace the night. Graveyard's rhythm haunts your feet. Join the dance, feel the beat. Pages move in harmony. Ghouls in shadows watch with glee. Joints a creak in bony stance. Under moonlight, ghosts they dance. Moonlit battle bones a clack, groovy beats don't turn back. Spooky sights, a midnight show, skeletons they steal the glow.